If you are a living human being, you have stress. Worrying about this and that does not take away tomorrow's troubles. Let me repeat that since I kind of flubbed it a little bit. Worrying about this and that does not take away tomorrow's troubles. What it does, it takes away today's peace. Martin Luther King said, tomorrow is today. Let me repeat that. Martin Luther King said, tomorrow is today. This service restores peace of mind today and tomorrow. You have stress? We all have stress. Legal Shield is the softest pillow.
All right. Legal Shield is the softest pillow.
It won't eliminate your stress, but it will allow you to sleep in comfort. Knowing that your family is protected. Knowing that if something comes up, you know what to do. You know who to call. You know how to acquire the information to allow you to make an intelligent decision, to allow you to make an intelligent choice, to allow you to address whatever that situation may be. You know, one of my favorite movies, if not my most favorite movie, is The Equalizer with Denzel Washington.
Yep.
It came out in 2014. How many of you saw it?
I do.
All right. Now, those of you who do not raise your hand, you need to immediately pull up that movie and watch it. It's a great movie. It's got great quotes in it. In fact, you can just pull up the quotes from The Equalizer on your phone. A lot of great quotes from that movie. A fish got to be a fish. When you pray for rain, you got to deal with the mud too. Go watch the movie if it's been a while. I watched it a couple of months ago. Tremendous movie. Legal Shield equalizes the power among the powerful and the powerless. It's like Denzel Washington in that movie. He takes out the bad guys on behalf of the people who do not have the skill and the expertise of a former CIA operative. Right? That's the premise of the movie. The great poet Nikki Giovanni said, "Nothing is easy to the unwilling." You've got to be willing to use the service. How many people in here have used the service? Well, I didn't see 100% of the hands. I saw a lot. But you have to be willing to use the service. You have to be willing to seek the knowledge to protect your family. You've got to be willing to call the equalizer, Legal Shield. To fight for your rights with skill, with expertise. Appreciate that. Legal Shield, it doesn't guarantee success. Sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. I'll repeat that. Sometimes you win. That's right, write that down. Sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. Failure is success if you learn from it.
Amen.
Reggie Jackson, the baseball player, said, home run hitters strike out a lot. In fact, he struck out 2,600 times, the most strikeouts of anyone in Major League Baseball. But when it mattered, when the game was on the line, Mr. October came through. I have two other people I want to quote. Warren Buffett said, look for three things in a person. Warren Buffett said, look for three things in a person. Number one, intelligence. Number two, energy. Number three, integrity. But he also said, if you don't have at least one, at least the last one, don't bother about the other two. So integrity. Demand it from anyone and everyone that you interact with. And keeping with the baseball metaphor theme, I'll close with Satchel Paige. Satchel Paige said, the future is not what it used to be. That's so true. Because with Legal Shield, your future is what you make it to be. Thank you.
Please welcome SNSD and $1 million earner, Omar Oropesa.
Unbelievable. When I ask you how you doing, you answer unbelievable. How's everybody doing? Unbelievable. That's this how, because they look asleep over there. How y'all doing over there? Unbelievable. Get apart. How y'all doing?
Unbelievable.
I don't know. Now listen. You know why you answer like that? Because when they ask you how you doing, they don't really give a shit. Alright? They don't care, they're just acting nice. And then you got those, well, I got my arthritis acting up, lost my job. My good Lord. Now, do you know anybody like that? Raise your hand if you know anybody like that. Now, if you ain't raising your hand, you're that person. Listen, I'm jacked up about this product, Legal. I can remember years ago when they brought it out, I was like, legal? Man, our clients are broke. They ain't got no money to be no legal. We gotta write a life insurance, an IRA account. They don't have nothing left over after that. I ain't writing that crap. And then one of the leaders, and I don't remember who it was, I wish I remember who it was so I could let him have credit. He's like, well, do you own it? I'm like, no, I don't own that thing. And he says, well, if you don't own it, you'll never write any of it. I said, well, he goes, you own our life product, right? I said, yep. You own our investment products, right? Yep. And you write a lot of that crap, don't you? I said, yep. So what I did is I went out and now look, this is how long I've owned it. They used to give you a card. Now it's an app. Raise your hand if you have a card, right?
It's a legal
Okay,
thing.
now,
It's a legal sa...
here's what I
Oh,
learned.
yun.
You'll never write one unless you own it. So if you're in this room and you're planning on writing any, you need to write yours first. So that's what I did. I owned it, right? And then it was in my wallet and I didn't remember that I owned it. And I never used it. So the next lesson is, number one, you got to own it, and then you got to use it. And so where I used to live years ago, many years ago when I wasn't rich, I used to live in this little place with a private parking spot. I had a parking spot, no garage, but a parking spot. And that was my spot. It had a number and everything. It was my spot. I was very proud of that spot. And I'd leave it in that spot, and there was a tree, this old tree that would drop brown crud on the hood of my brand new car that I had bought. So every morning I'd wake up, hose it down, right? And then I said, well, let me ring up the HOA. Anybody live in an HOA neighborhood? Raise your hand if you live in an HOA. Okay, well in Florida, they're all HOAs, pretty much, okay? And I ring them up and say, hey, listen, there's this old tree, and it's dropping brown crud on my new car, and I need you to remove it. I got no answer, no nothing happened. The next week, I ring them up again, and maybe I used a word that I wouldn't use in here or two. I might use it, actually. Nothing happened. And then I remembered, I got this legal product. Let me try it out, because I owned it, but I had never used it before, right? So then I ring them up and I explain it. And they say, oh, Mr. Oropesa, that's because with an HOA, the laws in Florida are, if you write them a letter, they need to respond within a day. But if you call them, they don't ever need to respond. So they said, would you allow us to write a letter with the law offices of Glance and Glance on the name representing Mr. Omar Oropesa? I used that word again, and I said, hell yeah! So they write the letter. The next day at the office, less than 24 hours, they ring up our office. I didn't even know they knew my office number. But when you move in, you have to write all that stuff. So the office says, hey, Elmer, it's the HOA line. I go, what are they? So I go, Mr. Oropesa, we didn't know you had a problem with this tree. I said, you can handle that with our lawyer, thank you. Click! Next morning, I'm not exaggerating, the next morning I'm sleeping. If you know me, I'm not an early riser. I had no wife yet, no little ones yet. So, I was out late at night the night before. So I'm sleeping like 8 o'clock in the morning. You hear, I wake up, what the hell is that? I open my window and they're removing the tree. I felt power. I felt empowered. So I did it. I owned it. I used it. And I can talk about that. Right? See, the best way to write this product is not with some pretty little presentation pack. It's to own it and to use it. And then explain it properly. You don't want to over-promise. You don't want that client, envisioning that there's a lawyer waiting on their call. Call me. You want to overpromise. You want to explain how the process works. Hey, listen, you're going to ring up you're going to ring up the number, the 800 number. They're going to ask you all these questions. What's your number? What's your name? What's this? What's that? What's the legal problem? The legal question? And then they'll let the right lawyer that works in that area of law know, and then the lawyer will reach you. You see, I think if you explain it the right way, and they know what to expect, they'll never drop the product. And then I let them know, I say, listen, I want you to own it like I do, and I want you to use it on everything you can use it on. Because the more you use it, the more you're going to realize how valuable it is. And let me explain, and the Florida officers have slowed me up once or twice with their red and blue lights. I don't know why they like to harass young, rich Latin guys, but they do. That are driving automobiles worth more than their houses, right? But they've stopped me 9 times in all the years that I've owned the legal product. Okay? And I've owned it probably since the end of '99. Okay? So 9 times they stopped me. God knows they'd probably stop me every day if they watched me drive. But 9 times I got caught. And 8 times, 8 of the 9 times, I don't know what they do. I'm not a lawyer, but it just went away. It's like magic. Now, Mr. Client, I'm not letting you know that's a green light, to drive like an idiot. Okay, but all I know is, and one time they rang me up and said, our legal recommendation is traffic school, Mr. Oropesa. And I said, well, where's the other lawyer? Because the other lawyer got me off 8 times. They said, Mr. Oropesa, the Florida trooper that wrote you that is the brother of the judge. We would recommend traffic school. I said, traffic school, it is. I brought my happy little ass to traffic school smiling. I got power. A lawyer told me to come to traffic school. I got a client of mine that I wrote him a life app, investments. I even recruited the guy, but I wasn't able to write him the legal because he had a friend that had a friend that was a lawyer. And he said, he's going to write me the will and the living will and the power of his, attorney. And I'm like, well, you got a wife, you got kids, you're middle-aged. When are you planning on handling that with your friend of the friend of the friend of the friend? Well, he never did it. And he was driving on the expressway, and a truck went over the median, hit him head on. They airlifted him, to the hospital. He was a quadriplegic when he arrived, but he was alive. But he was a vegetable. And for 9 months, he was a vegetable. And his wife, he was the only breadwinner in the house. And this was when, if you wanted to list your home, you could list it, and in an hour, it was gone. When real estate was hot, right? And his wife rang me up, crying, said, this is what I want to do. I want you to unload this home because they had a lot of equity in the house. And I want to use the equity and I want to move in, to a little place near the hospital. That way I can visit him every day in the hospital. I said, that's a great idea because you have no mortgage, you have a little extra cash. The problem is to list the house, you need a real estate contract. And on that contract, you need husband and wife. And since there was no living will, there was no way around it. 9 months later, they lost their house. He was alive. If he would have passed away, the life would have paid it. He was alive. He lived for years and years and years, and then he passed away. If we could have wrote him that living will, it would have changed their life. Not the living will, the power of attorney. And the living will, actually. Because the wife and the parents were at war. The wife wanted to yank the plug. The wife knew he wouldn't want to live like that. The parents were waiting for a miracle from God. And it just ripped them apart. And it's when it really hit me the most. I said, man, everyone needs this product. And now that, like in Florida, there's no licensing requirement, and pretty much around the USA, there's no licensing requirement now. We need to really learn this product well, but number one, we need to own it, and we need to use it, right or wrong. And then, if they ever bring up how much does it cost? $26 a year? I said, okay, let's work that out annually. How much is that a year? Let's just round numbers. How much a year? That'd be what? $300. If you own it for 20 years, how much are you laying out? $6,000. If you need a lawyer one time over the next 20 years, you win. And what are the odds you're going to need a lawyer once in the next 20 years. Like 150 freaking %. So listen, you gotta own it, you gotta use it, and then the greatest way to close it is explain it. And explain the value of it. And you don't overpromise, and you explain the process, how it works. And look, you can make money at this thing. I make about $800 a week in pure overrides of it. And the residual income on it is growing. $800 a week. Who'd like to make $800 a week on this product? And listen, this product is a recruiting weapon. Let me explain this. When you write this product, and then you work on the will with the client, and you ask Mr. and Mrs. Client, if you guys passed away, who would you want raising your little kids? In Florida, if you have no will, now I don't know the way it is where you live, but you can ask your legal, your 800 number, you can ask them if you own it. You can say, listen, in Florida, if you don't have a will and you guys pass away, Florida now has to grab your kids. And they look and see who's raising your kids. Do you want Florida making that choice? I mean, it is government. What do they, they screw everything up, don't they, the government? And so you need a will if you have little kids, right? So who would you want raising your kids? And say, I want our brother. He's so great with them. He loves them. His wife loves our kids. Mr. and Mrs. Klein, let me ask you a question. Isn't it critical that your brother knows who I am? Because if you passed away, wouldn't you want your brother to know who I am and what you wanted? Yeah. Would you drive with me over to your brother and introduce me to your brother so that I can explain to him what we did with you? That way he'll know who I am. I hope we never have to worry about this, but in case, I want to know him and I want him to know me. Wouldn't you agree that's a smart idea? And they say yes. Now you have, if you've not already recruited their blood, they're going to be riding with you under the person they trust with their kids. That's their warmest market of all. And you have another chance to recruit them and change their life. I'm done. See you guys.
All right, we are really excited to talk to you about ID Theft Defense, the new identity theft product that we launched back in January. To kick off, we're going to go watch a quick video really fast to see why you need identity theft.
The value I see in having an identity theft protection service is when you have a service like ours, you can call in and speak to a licensed investigator. Based on their credentialing and their years of experience, the investigators are very familiar with federal laws that protect the consumers. They have access to databases that they can tell you if things are a mistake. They know who to talk to get issues resolved when the consumers run across a roadblock.
So we got a call from a member. Her grandmother found out that she was a victim of identity theft where somebody had opened a student loan in her name without her authorization. Because of this, it caused multiple phone calls from collection agencies. They could not resolve this issue. So we were able to open a case for her, make sure the loan got closed out with the federal government as well as the university, and to make sure that the collection calls stopped. And she called me all the time and sends me Christmas notes every year to let me know that she's doing okay.
Received a call from a member who had his credit report and there was a collection that he didn't recognize. Through further investigation, we were able to obtain his other credit reports, and not only did he have a cell phone that had been opened with his social security number, he also had taxes that were filed, medical service, and apartment rental, all with his social security number. We were able to get in touch with the creditors, contact the hospital, contact the Internal Revenue Service. He's been a member for a number of years, and we've assisted him throughout to resolve all of his issues.
So over the years I've been doing this, I've restored over 900 identities. And the one common theme throughout all of them is that each individual I've spoken with, they all felt on their own and at risk and vulnerable when the situation occurred. And it is my job as an investigator to let them know that they are no longer alone and that we are here to help them.
That's fine.
All right, so who here already has ID theft defense? All right, pretty good number, but there's a lot of hands not raised. So we're going to quickly go through exactly what the product is, and then we're going to walk through some competitive, and we're going to release and announce some new features for y'all. First of all, what is ID theft defense? It is an industry-leading product for comprehensive identity protection. We've got a full-service identity suite that allows you to have monitoring, consultation, and restoration. And we have a mobile app that allows you to do everything you need right in the palm of your hand. That is great for demoing it with prospects as well as using it yourself. Tied with that, we have licensed private investigators from Kroll who are able to completely restore your identity and give you unlimited consultation if the need ever arises. So I said comprehensive identity protection. We bucket that into three main categories. That is monitoring, consultation, and restoration. It is a full suite of services that allows you to have preventative aspects, as well as asking an expert for advice, and in the unfortunate event that identity theft does occur, you're able to have complete restoration from professionals that bring your identity back to its pre-theft status. And then I'm going to pass it over to Efren here, who works at Kroll, to talk a little bit about the investigators.
All right, thanks, Jen. Well, hey, Primerica, how's everybody doing? All right, so this is my first Primerica event. I'm pretty stoked about it, so thank you guys for having us. Yeah, so like Jen said, we've got a lot of credentials I want to talk about. We've been doing this for a really long time. We've been partners, Legal Shield and Kroll, since 2003. So we've been doing this for longer than the $1 Million Guarantee, longer than before we saw those fancy ads on TV. So I want to talk about a lot of that and how you guys can really get out there and sell ID theft defense. So all the folks back in Nashville are licensed private investigators. Well, what does that mean, right? We farm them from specific agencies. We leverage other areas of our business. They're ex-FBI, they're ex-Secret Service. Those folks are dedicated and at your disposal. It is a one-on-one relationship, so you can call them and you don't have to rehash your story each and every time. I mean, how many times do we have to do that, whether it's DirecTV or Comcast or whatever? You got to be bounced around a call center, and then you got to rehash your story, or you're in crisis mode and you're panicked and your credit score is dropping and you can't get a loan, or you're being hauled off to jail. You don't need to be bounced around a call center. You need one-on-one access that you can pick up. If Tim is your investigator, he's your investigator for the lifetime of your membership. You've got, like Jen said, you've got him on the palm of your hand in that app. You can email him, you can call him directly, and then if you've got a case open, you can literally see each and every step of that process right there. And if you need something or need to call him, got questions, you call him. So we've got about an average of 7 years of investigative experience. Each one of the investigators back in the team in Nashville. They're certified fraud examiners. They're Citrum certified. They're certified privacy professionals. And then they've got a wide range of other educational credentials. They are all licensed by the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. That's just because they live and work in Nashville, right? So that does funnel up through the FBI, but they are licensed through the Polygraph Commission and the TBI back in Tennessee. So those folks are at your disposal, right? You don't even have to be a victim to call in. Call, ask questions. If you're maybe buying your first house, or you're sending your kids off to college, you're getting ready for retirement, or filing taxes, and you've got questions. You see tax fraud all over the place. These guys are at your disposal. Please call them and check it out. And we hit the ground running at the beginning of this year with ID theft defense. You guys are killing it, and because you guys are killing it, we've already got some new products that we're going to start rolling out, and by the end of the day, you'll have those, and there'll be an update to the App Store. So we're pretty super excited about it. So I want to quickly tell you a story. It does not involve the movie The Equalizer, but it is a good story. It speaks to the passion that the folks back on my team really have for the members that we're serving. So just really quickly, we did have a gentleman, we'll just call him John. And he unfortunately was in a really, really bad accident, completely disabled, and had to obviously go on disability to work. He was a member. He all of a sudden got this letter saying that his disability benefits had been turned off because they showed, the Social Security Administration showed him as getting a job. Well, obviously that was a problem because our member could not work, and that was his only form of income. So this was, again, that's that panic situation, right? Well, thank goodness he was a member. He called into our investigator. We did a bunch of digging. We made a bunch of phone calls. Our folks have lines in with the government, with the Attorney General's office, with court records, and different agencies across the country. So we did a whole series of work, and it took some time. But here's the real kicker: in order to get his benefits back in line and working again, we proved his identity was fraudulently used to get this new job. But he had to physically go and sign some documentation. Well, John was significantly impacted physically because of his disability. So whereas another company could have just said, hey, you gotta go and you gotta do this, our investigator actually picked up the phone and coordinated, went above and beyond, and coordinated transportation to and from where he needed to be. That speaks to the work that our folks do and the pride that we have and the dedication that we have to each one of those members. We are not a cost center. Yeah. These guys, that's their focus. Their focus is to take care of those issues. We do whatever we need to for as long as we need to make sure that those folks get the service that they deserve. So that's a great story. I want to talk just a little bit before we go into some of the new product features about what's this unique selling proposition. You know, we get asked, well, what's the difference between you and that company that has that $1 million guarantee? I don't like to name names, but we all know what I'm talking about. Right, okay, say it for me. So I want to talk about these. This really is what our value proposition is, right? That one-on-one access to that licensed investigator, that qualified individual that has the credentials that they need, that has the background, that knows the industry, that knows the phone calls to make, that's going to go above and beyond. You've got that access, which is immeasurable in the market. Second, a lot of these, I mean, again, we started this back in 2003, right? So this was long before some of these other players came to the market. A lot of these other folks, they'll send you those alerts, right? And you get alerts anywhere. You get alerts from your bank, you get in terms of your credit card, but what happens after that alert? That's really the key, right? What happens when you get that notification that something may have happened? A lot of